Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jeremy from Randolph Running Club, and I'm here today to talk about some Pumas, baby. Right after this.
This a Flavor Boy exclusive.
Alright, y'all, thank you so much for making it through that intro. As you saw there, we are here today to talk about the Puma Deviate Nitro. I've had this shoe for about a month or so, I'd say, a little bit longer than that, and I've been running, all kind of runs in this. I usually do my Saturday or just weekend long runs in this shoe. I've done some tempo work in it. I've done easy runs and everything in between. And I have some thoughts after this time. So, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for sliding by the channel. I know there's a ton of places that you could be, but I'm really happy that you're here in this video watching here with me. So I really appreciate that. And also, I just want to give a little disclaimer here. I usually don't do this on shoes because I always buy them myself, but I want to make it very clear that this is a shoe that I purchased with my own money, so I have no affiliation with Puma. There is no one who is going to review this before I post it or alter, my thoughts or anything on the shoe. So with that out of the way, I want to try a slightly different format today than what I normally do. Usually, I break it down to a couple different categories, and I talk about comfort, value, durability, versatility of the shoe, and then kind of like an overall rating of like, would I buy it again? For this shoe, I think I want to try doing things I like, things that I am neutral about, and then last but not least, things I don't like about the shoe. So let's start off here and just kick it off with some technical specs. So the Puma Deviate Nitro is a road running shoe. It's neutral, 9.4 ounces in a US men's size 9 according to Puma. We have a 32 millimeter heel stack height and 24 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop overall. So that means that the rear of the shoe is 8 millimeters taller than the forefoot. And also, we have Puma's engineered mesh upper, super comfortable, nice, breathable. Definitely more on that in a minute in the things I like section. But I think the big showstoppers here that are kind of different is this shoe has the Puma Nitro foam, which is a supercritical foam. It was developed to have nitrogen actually infused into the foam at a different temperature. I'm not exactly sure which temperature what they do it at, but essentially if you've ever run in like a Brooks Hyperion Tempo or a Skechers Hyperburst type of shoe, that is what I'm understanding. It's the same kind of process, so it's the same kind of liveliness and squish for lighter weight. So I think, kind of looking at this as like an engineer, I think what they're trying to do is basically have the same or allow more density of foam, more, I guess it wouldn't be density. I guess what we're looking at here is they want to have more foam, higher stack height, but less weight. And by injecting these like nitrogen, bubbles, if you will, into this foam, you're able to get that squish and that responsiveness without having a ton of just really thick foam everywhere and increase the weight of a higher stack shoe. So definitely really cool. And what they kind of did to balance out that kind of squishy and not so supportive foam is there's actually a full length carbon fiber plate, which Puma calls the Inno plate. So definitely going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but yes, this is a carbon shoe. Last but not least, we have the Puma Grip outsole, which is like full coverage rubber, really great. Definitely going to hop into that in the things I like section as well. So starting off here, we're talking about things that I like about this shoe. Just first and foremost, the shoe feels amazing at pretty much every pace I've thrown at it. Super great step in feel. It's nice and soft, but it's responsive. I think, to use like an over cliched term, the energy return that you get out of the shoe, that bouncy feeling, if you like that in your day-to-day runs, you can't go wrong here. I think it's phenomenal. It's super cush, but also very, very responsive when you pick up the pace. I would say kind of like a drawback, even though we're in the things I like section, is that the shoe doesn't feel quite as peppy once we're getting down into like the really fast paces. Like I wouldn't run like a mile time trial in this if I was going for like my absolute fastest time, or I wouldn't do like a 5K in this race in the shoe necessarily, just because I think it does feel a little bit clunkier at those really fast paces. But for the most part, I mean, if you're doing like a tempo run or something, or you're going on even a 10K. If I was trying to like my ultimate 10K time or something right now, I think I could handle it in this shoe. My feet would feel great. My knees, my legs in general would be thanking me at the end of that run. So I think the versatility is super high on these, and they feel great, which, that's the most important part of a running shoe, right? How does it feel on your foot? So kind of expounding on that, I think at the end of a long run, another thing that I like is just how comfortable and like cush these feel. I would say, I think the longest run I've done in these was about 15 miles or so. And at the end, I mean, it was just like walking on clouds the whole time. I mean, I felt just amazing. No real hot spots or anything. The upper is super breathable and just really conforms to your foot. So it was just a good feeling all around, and I think really positive experience. So I highly recommend this shoe. If you're looking for like a speedier shoe in your long run rotation, I think this could really be a game changer for sure. And then I think the other thing that I really like, just continuing to talk about the feel of the shoe underfoot, is I really love this about them. I feel like I'm expending less energy for the same kind of paces, if you will. So I guess a really good example, I also have a pair of like Nike React Milers that I use for like long runs and stuff, and they're like my really easy shoes. And I did the exact same run 1 week apart, basically one for 13 miles in the React Milers, and then the next week I did them in the Puma Deviate Nitros. And I just found that, I felt like I was running the same effort level, if you will, but my heart rate was a little bit lower with the Deviate Nitro. My overall pace was about 30 seconds per mile quicker, and it felt like I was running with the same intensity, but clearly like the stats show otherwise. So cannot rave enough about these. I think just the comfort, the support, the energy return that you feel is just phenomenal. I always find myself that when I'm in these shoes, I end up running a little faster than I intended, because it just works so well for my stride. And I just really feel like, I can always just keep on going and keep pushing that pace in these without any issues. Like at the end of every long run in these, if I want to do strides, if I want to, blaze out that last mile or something, I never have a problem getting my feet, the turnover going again. So highly recommend these in that arena. And then last but not least, two more things on the things that I really like about these is that the outsole, it's got to be like this Puma grip thing, it got me feeling like a Puma in the trees in the jungle or something, man. Like, it's crazy. I think these shoes, just again, not picking on the React Milers, but I have like 300 miles in those shoes, and the grip has definitely decreased, but I think even on their best day it wasn't quite like this. I took those shoes like on back-to-back runs, the same run, kind of in a sandy area, and what I found was that with the React Milers, I was kind of like slipping and just having some issues there that I didn't expect. And it's not until you come into a pair of shoes like this that has such a good grippy outsole that you realize what you were lacking before. And what I found was that I've run in these Deviate Nitros in the rain. I've gone on some like light trails, that are pretty compacted, not too loose. And I found that these shoes handle everything. As a matter of fact, when I get into my next point, you'll see they're absolutely filthy, because I can take these out in any kind of weather and not have any issues whatsoever because of that Puma grip outsole. So last but not least, on the things that I like, I do want to talk about the durability. It seems extremely high. Just holding the shoe up here, it looks like it's in pretty good nick, not having any issues. Here's the outsole, which, as you can see here, has no visible wear. Like, this is what, if you've ever run in like a Hoka Rincon or something, or an Epic React, or one of those shoes where the outsoles just get like absolutely bruised and battered after a very short period of time, this will be a breath of fresh air, because it just feels like, the shoe at 100 miles feels exactly how it did when I pulled it out of the box, quite frankly. And the outsole, the grip, everything just feels sharp, crisp. It's truly a treat to run in these, and I'm looking forward to many, many more miles. And I think that brings me into things that I don't like. So it's a good thing that the durability is high, and that I feel like I'm going to be able to get a ton of miles out of these shoes, at least, 400, 500 if I want to. Because things that I'm neutral about, the price. So this is the most expensive pair of running shoes I've ever purchased. $160 before like tax or any shipping or anything. And that hurt. That hurt me a little bit. I definitely like to buy shoes. If you've seen other videos, I tend to try to buy shoes once they're on sale. It's like, okay, the new version of this shoe came out, so I'll get, the last year's model or whatever, because if it was good last year, I haven't changed that much, still good for me. So I try to, definitely shop around for those deals. And these at $160 kind of hurt the pockets a little bit. When you look at these against other competitive shoes, it's kind of interesting that Puma priced themselves into this market, especially because people might not view Puma as such a premium brand. They might not view them in the same space as a Nike's or Adidas or Brooks or whatever. Because their shoes have, been kind of hit or miss over the years. I think this is the step in the right direction. But at $160, you're going to be comparing this to the Endorphin Speed from Saucony. And I have not run in that shoe, but if you believe the hype on Reddit, if you believe the hype over other running shoe tubers and reviewers and all these people, like, that sounds like the greatest shoe of all time. And this, as good as this feels, once I spent the $160, I couldn't help but wonder, is the Endorphin Speed, does that feel better than this? Does that feel a little bit better? And I think when you spend this much, you shouldn't have to worry if something else felt better, right? You should be like, all right, I'm getting the ultimate shoe. So there's that. But I will say these also kind of compare, I think, to like the New Balance TC Elite, I think, or just the TC carbon plated kind of training competition shoe. And those, I think, are like $200. So it's in a competitive range for how it feels. I just think it's tough because those other brands, if I went to somebody who's, a seasoned runner and I said, hey man, you want to try these Sauconys, these Pumas, the New Balance, Nikes, whatever, probably 9 times out of 10, somebody who's really serious about marathon running, just because of past experiences with the brand or not enough exposure, is probably going to pick one of those other ones instead of Puma. So kind of tough. I wish that they had gone a little bit cheaper, maybe 140, 135, to really make this just a standout. But I understand it is a great shoe. It's worth the 160. It's just, I'm neutral about it. I wish it was cheaper, but I'm okay that it's not. And the other thing that I'm kind of neutral about here is, I think the shoe, it's gotten pretty dirty. Like, I'll hold it up again here so you can see, but the thing I don't like about it, and I just raved about the durability, but if you see here, like the Puma logo is like painted onto that midsole. I think that's a thing with supercritical foams. You can't like dye the foam necessarily. So part of that logo is kind of like chipping away as I've just accumulated more and more miles. And it's okay. I mean, you don't notice it. Like, nobody far away is going to notice this, but when I'm up close and I'm just looking at my shoe in my shoe rack or something, I'm thinking, man, I paid $160, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of chipping away. Like, it's kind of a bummer. So I think that's something I was a little bit neutral about, but it's all good. I mean, it's just one of those things sometimes kind of unavoidable. I think the Saucony Endorphin Speed, for instance, has the same issue where they're, I don't think it's super critical. I think it's like a P-Bax foam, but point of the story, it kind of chips away as well, because it's not dyed. It's just kind of like painted on there. And the last thing I'm neutral about is just, again, kind of complaining about this price. I think at $160, it would be really nice if this was a shoe that I could wear for every single run ever. Like, if I could do time trials at like 5K or a mile pace in these, I would feel a little bit better about the price even. But this shoe has pretty good range, so that's kind of like the reason I put it in the neutral category, because I'm kind of complaining at that point. So last but not least, let's talk about things I don't like. If you've seen any other reviews for this shoe, you've probably heard about this. This might have been the thing that stopped you from getting it in the first place, but that is heel slippage. I think the upper fits so well. I think it's super comfortable, breathable. It kind of has like this suede inside, which I don't think is going to show up on camera, so I'm not even going to try to do it, but it feels good. There's a TPU plate in the heel, so the heel cup area is good, but something about the way that this upper like grips around your ankle, I don't know, it's just a little bit sloppy. The rest of the shoe, midfoot, forefoot, everything fits so great. The laces are phenomenal. I love these laces. I kind of want to put them in other shoes, but something about this, like the top of that heel area just doesn't quite jive with my ankle. And I've seen this in other reviews as well, so I know I'm not crazy. It sounds like other people experience it, but it's just one of those things. It doesn't feel terrible on the run, but as you're taking, your steps and doing what you want to do, just walking around, you kind of notice it. But once you pick up the pace, it's kind of fades away a little bit. But it's just always in the back of your mind. Like, once you start getting on the shoe a little bit and stepping on the gas, that there's just a little bit of slippage. The lockdown just isn't like elite, I would say. So that's pretty much it. I have no other real complaints about the shoe. And, overall, would I buy it again? Yes, I think I would definitely buy this again. I'm really curious to know what the endorphin speed, for instance, feels like. I just got a pair of Nova Blasts, which kind of feel like this, and they cost almost half the price with the sales that are on those shoes now. So that's kind of oh man, I guess I'm saying that I wouldn't necessarily want it, I guess. But I think, if you have any apprehensions on the price or anything, the Nova Blast, and I might do a comparison against these two shoes, but I think the Nova Blast might give you like 90% of what the feel of this shoe. The carbon plate does seem like it helps a little bit on really long runs, which I've yet to take the Nova Blast on. But I will say, for 160, I think it's okay. You might want to, if you can try it on in the store and compare it to some of the other shoes I mentioned, maybe a Brooks Hyperion Tempo as well, or a Skechers Razor or something. That might be a good way for you to determine if that's really the shoe, if this is really the shoe for you for that price. But all in all, I can't really complain. I enjoy it. I like it. I've enjoyed running in it, and I'm looking forward to many, many more miles. And as always, stay blessed, inspire others, stay safe out there, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to leave me a comment or subscribe to the channel, whatever it is. It always helps the channel grow and helps me continue to put out content like this. So I really appreciate you guys. Take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.